You're listening to the Bearded Theologians podcast, hosted by Zach Bechtold and Matt Franks. If you'd like to learn more about the Bearded Theologians, you can go online at beardedtheologians.com, where we have past podcasts, blogs, and a couple items for sale. So check us out, beardedtheologians.com. Thank you for listening, and enjoy this week's show. You're listening to the Bearded Theologians podcast, hosted by Matt Franks
and Zach Bechtold.
So this week on the podcast, with summer kind of really kicking off and everybody getting out of school, and we're still kind of in this, coming out of COVID kind of phase, we're going to talk about Sabbath and how to rest in the midst of all the chaos and craziness, because as things ramp up, we tend to forget that we really need to rest. And so, Zach, as you think about that, as you think about what we're kind of hoping to talk about today, what are some things that come to mind for you?
Yeah, just living near Denver. Now we're, within an hour and a half and 2 hours of Denver, depending on traffic. We're getting, our social media algorithms have changed, and now we're getting ads for Denver things, concerts at Red Rocks, concerts here, comedians, all of the things, right? And they hit almost immediately, like 2 weeks ago. It was just every day, scrolling through Facebook, scrolling through Instagram. There's another concert, there's another comedian, there's another thing. And I thought, oh, dang, are we there yet? But then it also hit me in that same breath of, we're really tired of being stuck at home or limited into the things that we can do. And now there's this big push, one, because artists and people who are creative and tour and do things are ready to get back out. We as people are ready to get back out, but it led me to ask myself the question is, not so much is this too much too fast, but are we going to leave our houses sprinting, thinking, hey, we just rested for the last year and a half, now we can go full force and hit burnout, just in our personal lives, not even considering work, not even considering all the other things that we do, but adding this part back in to our lives, the social piece or the entertainment piece. Are we going to lead ourselves into burnout in other areas because we're doing too much? And so Matt and I wanted to talk a little bit about that of what does it look like to rest and to remind ourselves to rest, even though it feels like we just rested a ton. That doesn't make up for what we need tomorrow or today or the next day, right? And so that's kind of my focus, because my family is going to be getting out and about and doing some camping, and going to some baseball games and things like that, but making sure that we don't burn out, that doesn't lead to burnout in other areas of our life, that we're still resting.
Well, and I think that's the key, is that with everything coming back, everything kind of hitting play. I like the way that today on the Black Liturgy's Instagram, that's what they talked about today. And Zach's the one that came up with this idea, not necessarily I did, but for our topic today. But I was thinking about that and thinking about how when we push, like the world is pushing play and saying it's time to get back to going to where we were, or let me rethink that. Instead of saying we're moving back to normal, because that actually is not a thing.
Right.
We're just pushing play on the busyness of life.
Right.
But I also want to say, I really believe that even in the last year when we were in COVID, even when we were shut down and things were just different, we were operating at a pace that still even then was unhealthy. Mm-hmm. And asking ourselves, what are we doing to take time for ourselves? And I think that as clergy, we are the worst at that. We are definitely the worst at that. Mm-hmm. Taking time for ourselves, our family, our spiritual health, our mental health. And when we refuse to do that, it causes harm in those other areas. And, the pandemic allowed us to kind of hit pause. I'm not going to say we hit pause, because I know like both of us did not hit pause when things shut down. We probably worked more, just in different ways. And so now as things are opening back up, as Zach said, concerts and baseball games, and it's okay to say no to those things too, still, to take care of yourself. If you're tired, man, take a nap. You don't have to go to those things, and that's okay too. I think that's giving that space, giving us that permission and that space to do that. I think that's vital and huge, even for us to hear today, even though we were, that was kind of the message. Hey, this is a good time to rest and relax. And let's be honest, we really didn't. And so now, like, as things are ramping up, I think that space to say no needs to happen. If someone tells you no, don't take it personally. I think that's one thing that we can tend to get hurt on, is if someone says no, we wonder if they hate us, or they, no, maybe they just need a break, or maybe they're just tired, or maybe, whatever, maybe they, don't need to hang out today. And that's okay too.
Right. Well, and I like the metaphor of pressing pause and play. It's not perfect, right? I get that. But what it seems like we did over the last year, rather than slowing down, our boundaries changed. For many of us, we started working from home or some sort of hybrid thing. And especially we're all zoomed out, right? Matt and I have been a big proponent of Zoom for 4 or 5 years now, and I'm tired of Zoom. I could sit on less Zoom meetings and it would make me happy. This one excluded. I like this one. This one's fun. But our boundaries have changed. And that's the thing that we have to do when we move back forward coming out of this thing, is recalibrate our boundaries. And I think that's where we'll all get in trouble of, okay, now we were doing these things and working from home, and those boundaries were weird. And we finally got used to that. And now we're branching out from that and then adding other social aspects into it. Now where are the boundaries? And like Matt said, say no, and don't feel bad about it. It's okay. And that could be to something social. That could be to something work, right? Of, no, I'm not going to go to that Zoom meeting because I've learned over the course of the last few months, that's an email, right? And having the right and correct and appropriate boundaries for yourself, so that you don't, so that any of us don't rush into any of this, hit a wall, and find ourselves back in that exhaustion, depression. Now that the world is normal, and I'm using air quotes, why do I feel this way? Why is my spirit and my heart and everything about me heavy, when we've just been practicing? We didn't recalibrate our boundaries. We're not getting rest where we need to, and we're overdoing it. And it leads us into a lot of burnout and a lot of hurt and a lot of just needing to rest. So I think that's our hope for you, is just find places to rest. The way it's been the last 5 years, we talk about this a lot because it's important, and because I know Matt and I need daily reminders of it.
Well, and that's where, like, even taking your, I think one of the big pushes now is mental health, and
Yes.
and would encourage you that if you feel like you need mental health, please, be persistent on that. And the reason why I say be persistent on it is because the mental health society, the mental health world is stressed itself. And it may take you a while to get an appointment or find a therapist, but don't give up on that, and continue to press and continue to do those things, because that would be very helpful for you. And I think that's like the idea of taking time is very biblical. There's a reason why God rested on the seventh day, is because even in the middle of creation, it was taxing, but God wanted to provide. I really believe God wanted to provide as an example for us to take rest and to take Sabbath. And encourage you to do that and find ways that you can rest and refuel yourself. And that may mean that you have to do things a little bit differently than what you were doing for whatever reason. And so, just take that in consideration. We want to encourage you to go to our website at beardedtheologians.com and check out all of our great gear and things. You can also find us on a really great source. It's called Amplify Media. It's produced by Cokesbury, or the Methodist Press. You can find us on there. We've got some really good shorts on there, and we had fun doing that, and just encourage you to check that out. And so for the Bearded Theologians, I'm Matt Franks.
I'm Zach Bechtold. Thanks for checking us out.
First, guys, I want you to subscribe and like this video, and push that thumbs up.
Thank you for listening to the Bearded Theologians podcast. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share on all social media outlets. You can check out old episodes and more information at beardedtheologians.com. Thanks for checking us out.
I don't like it.